Lee thinks about it overnight, and he decides to attack the Union Army in that position. He goes to his #1 commander, James Longstreet, his old warhorse, and he says, here's what I want you to do. And I'll paraphrase a lot of military orders here. General Longstreet, you've got 2 divisions on the field. That's about 14,000 men. I'll let you have one of the divisions from one of the other corps, Anderson's division from A.P. Hill's corps. They'll act under your direction. But I want you to take your 2 divisions, get them behind this ridge line, out of sight. I want you to move them down here about a mile and a half, and I want you to get them on one of the roads into Gettysburg called the Emmitsburg Road. Those cars right there are on the Emmitsburg Road. It cuts diagonally right through the battlefield. It goes right in front of the Klingel Farm. That's the red farmhouse down here. I want you to use that road as a guide, mass your forces down there, and I want you to attack up the Emmitsburg Road. I want you to hit the left flank of the Union Army somewhere over in there and drive it in towards the town of Gettysburg. While you're doing that, Richard Ewell, the Confederate commander who didn't take that hill, is going to be ordered to demonstrate against Culp's Hill to hold the troops over on the eastern side so they cannot come to reinforce against you. If he has the opportunity, he's to convert that demonstration into an attack. That means the Union line will be hit from both sides and driven in simultaneously. Good plan. You're all familiar with good plans. They last 5 minutes and then they're starting to fall apart. Longstreet doesn't like the plan. He's going to argue to do something different with Lee. Lee will say, no, General, the enemy's there and that's where we're going to strike them. He's moved into Pennsylvania to defeat the Union forces. He's got them right there where he wants them. He thinks he can drive them and defeat them in that position. General Longstreet is going to be accused of dragging his feet, taking his good old time, creating more controversy. Robert E. Lee wants the Confederate attack to start by 10 a.m. on July 2nd. Longstreet is not ready to go until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And the whole time this movement is taking place, General Meade is perfectly happy to sit in that defensive posture, bring up more of his army, strengthen his position, and await the Confederate attack. Holding the defensive line and letting the other guy come towards you is the way you win battles. Lee's been very good at it all through 1862. He's going to get the tables turned on him here. We're still moving south along Seminary Ridge. Longstreet, now if you kind of think about it, is moving over here to the right, over these farms with 2 divisions of Confederate troops. That's about 14,000 men, trying to keep out of sight and trying to mass his troops down here in front of us so that they can attack and hit Meade's left flank. For Robert E. Lee, up until the afternoon, his biggest headache is going to be getting Longstreet down here in time to make this attack coming up the Emmitsburg Road. And Longstreet's efforts, if you've read about this battle, you know there's a counter march here where Longstreet takes his whole column, turns around and marches it back because at one point they could be seen, and people that are going to point at Longstreet and say he was dragging his feet and didn't want to do this, they're going to argue he didn't have to do that, and they may have a reasonably good case there. People that are Longstreet supporters are going to say, well, you know, Longstreet had to move 14,000 men, and that's columns that are pretty long in Civil War standards and out of sight. You can't do that easily. And if they try and go back and recreate the timing, they can't get themselves down here much faster than Longstreet did, and they'll say, well, see, he couldn't do it any faster anyway. So there's a lot of controversy, and depending on whether you're a Longstreet supporter or detractor, you can come up with an argument either way. This is the Emmitsburg Road. Longstreet will now be massing his troops on either side of the road to the south of us where that bus is located, and this is where he will be preparing to attack up the Emmitsburg Road. The Union headache now arrives on the battlefield for General Meade. This is a New York City attorney, politician, former state and federal congressman, philanderer par excellence, all-around sleazy character and member of the Tammany Hall political organization in New York City, a fellow by the name of Daniel Edgar Sickles. Dan Sickles, by 1863, has risen to the ranks of Major General as a political general when the Civil War starts. He's raised troops from the city of New York, and he now commands the Union Army's 3rd Corps. General Meade doesn't like General Sickles very much, and the feelings are mutual. General Sickles has been ordered to hold Little Round Top. There's Big Round Top to the right. Little Round Top is the 2nd tree line right out here, forming the eye of that fishhook line. For reasons that are still debated today, General Sickles wants to abandon that hill and advance out to this peach orchard we just drove by. He can't get permission from any of the Union officers that he's talking to. And so by late morning, early afternoon, he's getting reports that there's Confederate troop movements behind Seminary Ridge. So finally, with that information, Sickles, on his own authority, assumes the responsibility, pulls his troops off of Little Round Top, and now brings them out to this peach orchard. Runs his line of troops up the Emmitsburg Road about 3/8 of a mile, bends his line here in the peach orchard, extends it down through this woodlot in front of us, through a wheat field owned by the Rose family, and that's the Rose farmhouse right there, down another ridge line called Houck's Ridge to a large rock outcropping called Devil's Den. And he's now sitting with a line of battle that's 1.5 miles in length compared to what he should be defending, which is only 3/4 of a mile. He's sitting in the middle of no man's land, and massing in front of him in the woods on either side of the Emmitsburg Road are now 14,000 Confederates, 2 divisions under General Longstreet, who are now poised to make their attack at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Sickles is sitting right in front of them. He's going to get hammered out here. He's also going to make places on this battlefield famous in American history. The Devil's Den, Houck's Ridge, the Wheatfield, the Peach Orchard, and the Emmitsburg Road, because he's sitting right in the middle of all of these. And again, these fences are all reproductions, but they're reproductions of what should have been here at the time. And this type of fence, if I'm a soldier, I love this. It's a stacked snake rail fence. I can push it over. It doesn't impede my movements. The pillar and post fences that the Pennsylvania German farmers like to throw up out here are a whole different ballgame. You got to go up and over those because they don't knock down easily. That makes you an ideal target for your opponent in lines of battle. Stone walls are a hindrance, but not a problem because you can just go up and over them. This is George Rose's 20-acre wheat field. It could have been planted in wheat at the time of the battle, about chest high. A number of Confederate troops make notes about the fine quality of this wheat crop. Some of them scoop up handfuls of the wheat kernels so that they can take them back and try to plant them. This area will become the scene of some of the most intense fighting of the entire American Civil War, as Union and Confederate troops vie for control of this 20-acre area from about 5 p.m. in the afternoon of July 2nd until about 6:30. This will become a gigantic vacuum, now drawing in reinforcements from all along the Union line of battle, weakening other positions of Meade's line of battle out here so that they can reinforce Sickles in his position down here. Now, we just crossed a little stream called Plum Run, and I'm going to recross it here a second time, and we're going to go down this valley called the Valley of Plum Run, often referred to as the Valley of Death. Plum Run is the little stream here that's also often referred to as Bloody Run. And if you take in the electric map or you read about the battle, sooner or later somebody will refer to it, talking about the fact that tradition says the tinge of the water turned red as soldiers fell in the stream or crawled to its banks to get water as they dehydrated from their wounds. You can also see the terrain changes down here. This is not what the first field battle looked like, first day's battle looked like. We got rocks and boulders everywhere, high hills. Now here's a little round top. That's Big Round Top over there. Devil's Den's going to come into view down here in front of us, and the area right in front of Devil's Den, in between Big Round Top, is the area that's referred to as the slaughter pen, for the amount of fighting that takes place down here.
So, Little Round Top's the bear face right here.
Right here, and we're gonna take a right. We're gonna get out and stop right up there where those people are. This becomes a scene of heavy fighting because General Sickles should be up there. He's now going to move out to this new advanced position, and he's not going to tell his boss what he's doing.
And now this is Devil's Den?
It's Devil's Den right here. It's all part of a lava flow from about 300 million years ago, and what you're looking at is the weathering effect to break all of this up. If I were ordered to hold the top of this hill, they wouldn't have gotten me off of here with a crowbar. It's pretty dramatic if you're down here. It's even more dramatic when you're up there looking down. Now, this is also going to set the stage for creating a very famous figure in American history, because when General Sickles leaves, he's going to compound his error by leaving no one up here to defend this hill. And if I'm a Confederate officer, sooner or later somebody's going to decide to come over here and see if they can grab this hill. And the fellow that tries to do it is a William C. Oates in the 15th Alabama, who will go and push out away from the main Confederate attack against General Sickles' advance line, come up and over Big Round Top, and try and come in from around and come in from the southeast corner and try and take this position. With no one on the top of the hill, somebody's out looking for reinforcements, and when they finally manage to find reinforcements, they're going to stick them back here in a hurry, and the guy who gets stuck on the very back corner is going to be an obscure colonel from the state of Maine by the name of Joshua Chamberlain. That's the 20th Maine's monument right there, peeking above the stone wall. So the 20th Maine will go into position back on this corner of Little Round Top about 4:30 in the afternoon. You got to remember, Sickles is out in front of this hill. He's been engaged since 4 o'clock out there. 20th Maine goes into position about 4:30. Coming off a Big Round Top just after that will be the 15th Alabama. That's where those two get locked in combat that goes back and forth for an hour and a half. That becomes the central theme of the Killer Angels novel, which is converted into the movie Gettysburg, and Jeff Daniels is going to earn that role of being Colonel Chamberlain, sweeping down the hill ultimately and gobbling up members of the 15th Alabama and taking the prisoner, driving the rest back up on the big round top, and never letting Confederate forces seize this hill